Good evening, Super League, and welcome to your Game Week 5 stream. Great to have you with us, especially considering just how much ridiculously good sport is on at the minute. I myself was trying to milk it for as long as possible, catching as much of the opening Sunday of the NFL, and got an absolute scolding off my co-coms for having not dialed him in at 5 to 9. It is the Wharton contradiction. He's a man that's new, but he's not really new. It's the Foss Road boss. It's the General. Smuts, how you doing, boyo?
Very well, mate. Very well. I'm absolutely in tatters from playing a full 90 minutes earlier today in 30-degree heat. So if you do hear any yelps of squeals of pain from me, I enjoyed it, to be honest.
And you swung by Fifey's house for a bit of a rub down?
I did indeed, mate. Yeah, an absolutely righteous point. I drove past his house on the way back from dropping one of my teammates off in the arse end of nowhere in Leicestershire, and realised I was very near Fifey's gaff, so rude not to pop in and have a cheeky pint on the way home.
Happy days indeed, mate. Happy days. Couple of shout outs. Rob Sloth, who was messaging me about 8 o'clock and said he was off to bed because he was absolutely blitzed, so I'm delighted he's still standing, and if he wants to talk the transfer deal he put in, then you can keep messaging. Shout out to Fifey and the free score and Swindon's Fifey, by the way. Alf Bridge is in the chat. They're kind of sobriety to Rob's pissness, I suppose you'd say. Edwards is in the chat. Play him tonight, Northern Burnside against Sancte. Tato Mourinho's here. Badger Boys against Haggis. That looks a fantastic one. And Jens saying that the Vikings winning run starts today, and surely that'll have to be on the back of Maxim if it is. Just a quick little look at how you've done with your kind of own baby, really, Smuts. Foss Road Unicorns, you won 1, lost 1, and drawn 2. I think it's fair to say that nobody in the league is really feeling fantastic about their side. There's everybody you speak to seems to think that the side's not really that good and they could be doing much better. What's your kind of thoughts on where this squad is and the results that you've had?
Yeah, so the last 2 draws realistically should have both been wins. Dominated both games. Was gutted not to come away with the points, realistically. That first game was genuinely just because Mendieta was out and Dan hadn't got his formation sorted yet. That was reserve players. So I'm not too worried as yet, unless those draws continue when I'm the better side for most of the game. But this team, I think you alluded to it with Tato on Thursday. It's not really for this year. This year is basically about me bedding in and learning as much as possible as I go. This team is for next year, realistically. Hoffland hasn't played a game yet.
I love that. I think we've been in situations where people have kind of said that as a cop out as to why kind of the team's maybe not doing as good or not doing great. But the fact that kind of Tato came out and said that, with that having not been uttered to anybody else, I love that, mate. I love, like, genuinely somebody to come along and build a squad for a season's side. I think is a really, really interesting thing. In terms of the league itself, anything kind of standing out to you? Anything of note at all?
Yeah, I mean the fact that Fifey has got absolutely dicked game week 1, shat his pants and changed his mind immediately on all 11 players, and then is somehow fucking top of the league. I won't point out that was the formation that I brought to the Gazelles either. I won't say that.
Right. So was it a tactic fail you thought? All right. Okay.
I wouldn't say that to his face because he's bigger than me. But no, it's nothing to do with me. Yeah, it's a real
else other than
that. Yeah, to be honest, the two teams in and around the bottom that I'm surprised about, Vikings, obviously, until Maxim starts firing, if he starts firing, them being right down the bottom end after 4 games it's unfathomable. And Los Santos, who I've got today, that side looks really, really strong. So the fact that they've not seen out 3 of those games and lost them is a surprise to me.
Yeah, what was really interesting was Hodges' team selection today. He said, staying as is because I trust the process. And I think in seasons gone by, we might have said, kind of Hodges jacked it already. But I definitely think there is that feel about Los Santos that, he likes the 11. He's got a good 11. He's made those deals with Fifey to kind of bring in players that he really loves in Vogel and Silvestre. And, it is kind of a trust in the process kind of statement, really. Hopkins is joining us tonight. He's deputising for Maka, who is predisposed with work. And we had a little bit of a discussion pre-stream and just said we're going to let the game decide, Smuts.
Absolutely, mate. Yeah.
Takes us to Fulchester against first of all. So this is how Fulchester go. They make the one change. Constantinu comes in for the injured Hernan Crespo, and everybody would have seen in the no reply group that Crespo is out for 2 months. And also the second change he makes is that Serginho comes in for Donny, I think it is. Fulchester at the minute have won 1, lost 1, and drawn 2. But actually, against yourselves, we're a little bit lucky to come away with a point, having went 2-0 up in the game. And then actually against the Sloths, the reverse was probably true in terms of they looked the better side, and Sloths were lucky to kind of turn it around, really. So yeah, jury's out still on Fulchester, I think, but this looks very much like a Maka team now. Smuts, what do you reckon?
Yeah, definitely. It's very much built in his image, isn't it? And to be honest, as I've said, I should have come away with a win against these last week, but neither a manager or assistant manager were there last week. So no changes were made. And I think it was alluded to on comms that at 2-0 up and coasting, as soon as that 1 goal came back, there would have been more defensive reinforcements brought on to shore them up.
Yeah,
against me.
Couple of little interesting kind of things to kind of bear in mind and remember that Canizares played on debut for Fulchester, and obviously they had an absolute hammering. Dida played on debut. Canizares was meant to play, but he subbed in Dida. And then who was it that came in? Dida played again, and then it was changed. It was changed pre-kickoff in that hammering, and he stuck with him. So that'll be interesting to see who kind of ends up long term in net. Definitely a place that Maka's looking to kind of reinforce. Stackington, so unusual for Horst to being so busy in the transfer market. He has cashed in Christian Vieri for Amoroso and Emerson. What's your thoughts on that deal?
I think he's undervalued Vieri there, realistically. But then I thought I got the better end of all the deals I've done with Dan. It's very much each player there, Mendieta and probably Emerson aside, they're horse players. They are very much realistically. Oh, and Dyer as well. 3 of their 4 in midfield would probably get into my team because I like them. Everybody else, well, I mean, I've sold half of them to him because I don't
Yeah.
like them. So it's very much. And there's one thing I mentioned to Fifey over a cheeky point earlier, I don't understand people's valuations of players. I really don't.
In what sense? In what sense?
I mean, I ate half the players that I got drafted, and Petit, Henri, you know, anyone French. I pretty much binned off quite happily, and everybody was, wider than had a proper wide on for them. So I just don't understand it.
Do you think that comes from? Like kind of the nature of you playing the game and the small horse and the kind of weird and wonderful players that are in there? Or Dan, if you can just remind us in the chat what numbers you wanted. You said it in the email submission. It was that way. It was one of those.
Emerson 32,
where do you think?
Amaruso 21. Yeah, that's
Lovely,
it.
Brilliant, excellent. And yeah, let's crack on. I think, and we'll come back to that question at halftime. Smuts, prediction here, Smuts.
I think this has got score draw, probably a third Desmond in a row for Fulchester.
Fifey with a little bit of breaking news there. The Spanish FA president, after all the controversy of the last 3-4 weeks, has resigned. Emery with a goal after Fulchester had hit the crossbar as I was talking. Fine save from Dida, restoring his faith in his manager. 17 minutes played. Serginho back in the side, linking up with Beckham on either side of the wing. There is Amoroso putting forward his first chance and putting it wide. Chiesa then puts it wide, and we have an injury to Clarence Seedorf, who has been in absolutely brilliant form for Macca with 2 assists and a man of the match performance inside 4 games. Hopkins, if you can let me know what you're going to do. I'm guessing it might just be the ever-reliable David Prutton just to sit in there, maybe swap with Gattuso. I can't imagine them going with Hersey this early on in a midfield 4, I don't think. What would
Unless
you be doing here?
Robin back, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, I think he's 1-0 up.
Prutton.
I think probably Prutton would be the shout. There we go.
Makes sense. This early in the game, yeah. There's no point.
Excellent. We'll crack on. Serginho to Emery, and Prutton is in there straight away. And Dyer, who's been very, very quiet. You'd have kind of bet a decent sum of money on him being up there amongst the assists. And there is Michalis Constantinu. What a guy, what a player. And he gets his first goal for Fulchester to put them up again for the 3rd game in the row, 2-0 up at half time, and looked to be cruising, I think, there. What's your thoughts, Smuts?
I mean, pretty even on paper otherwise. Just seems to have taken 2 of the 3 chances there. And yeah, not so much for Stackington. And is that where you'd rue missing Vieri? Would he have taken a couple of those chances? Who knows? But it's not like he'd done it already. So
yeah. I mean, Dan would probably say no, because they've only scored 1 goal inside 4 games. I think they're the lowest scorers in the league, along or maybe just below Vikings, I think. But this Fulchester side with that packed midfield does look to be creating a hell of a lot of chances. Hopkins in there with the early as is. We leave it on for Dan. We do know that he does like to make changes with arrows and players and positions when he is chasing the game a little bit. I think he's definitely one of the managers that really isn't happy with his side at all, and thinks it's very much a work in progress. Maybe not as solid a work in progress as your guys in terms of having 2 11s, one for now, one for next season, but definitely a work in progress. We kick on from 45 minutes. I think that was an easy chance for Paredes that he didn't manage to finish. Dida lets it run free, and there is Mendieta. We didn't mention in the pre-match chat that this is Mendieta's debut. Yeah, Mendieta's debut, having been injured for the first 4 games of the season. And there is the Stackington stats and fitness having looked better since 45 minutes, Smuts?
Yeah, definitely. They've certainly taken the game to the inferior FUFC team in the league, but still 8s and 7s throughout there. I don't know if maybe they'd drop Prutton back here as a 2 banks of 2 to sort of shore up, but that's not really either Macca or Jamie's sort of way of playing, is it? So I'm not sure.
Yeah, I said that might have happened on Thursday night had they have been live. It wouldn't surprise us if Prutton drops, Emery sits, and they kind of tried to see it out really. A Mendieta goal on debut massive for Horse, and a goal anyway is massive for Horse at the minute, given how few they've been scoring. So we'll just wait for changes to come through, and Horse is the person to blink first. Klimovitz off for Bernardo Romeo,
Both
and
make
Emerson
sense.
off for Marcelino Carioca, and switching with Dyer. Thanks. Definitely one of those, Dyer as an MC, jury's out on him in the Super League. I think it's kind of 50-50. Some people like it, some people don't. And we'll just jump back over to Fulchester. Are Fulchester going to see this out, do you reckon, Smuts?
They haven't for 2 of the previous 2 games, so I would be surprised if they did, but we'll see.
Putting in a DM.
I think that change does make a difference. So maybe.
And
presumably
Hopkins, I'm going to presume that Emery goes in. Comms positions are better than last week. Still room for improvement. What's he saying? Because in the stream.
The in the right hand corner.
Yeah. It's because unless we're doing a whip round and we want to pay for the premium version of StreamYard, poor mate, we've kind of got to pivot with the free version. So sorry, mate. Brilliant.
I think it's where we are physically. So I usually watch it on the big telly. Oh, there we go. There you go. I eat me words immediately, and the live text pops up on the right hand side, so I can never see half the bloody pitch. It's annoying.
Oh, and this is turning into a bit of a rout. What a result for the Fulchester boys that is. Frustratingly for Stackington, out of nowhere, they've created a hell of a lot, but just not put the ball in the back of the net. And Fulchester march on, looking a bit like the real deal. It does put them in touch with the line, and let's see who got man of the match. And it is Serginho on return, gets 2 assists for the Fulchester boys. No other assists, so looks a bit like solo efforts there. Constantino with a goal on debut, and
Ronaldo
Hopkins
got an assist.
Oh, did he? Yeah, missed that. Seen it because he's a sub there.
Yeah.
Cheers, Smuts, mate. Well
spotted. Assist on his debut. I did have a little sneaky nibble at him with Maka, and he basically said, "I can't be asked to do any more transfers. That'll do."
A few 5s running through the team there. Vesterveld, Hupia and Amoroso, all who have been such big players in the last build, put in 5s for the Horse, and the questions around what he does with that team are still out. We go over to my game next, which is Sanctia versus the Northern Burn boys. Burn have been solid, if unspectacular, with 2 wins, a draw and a loss. Definitely one of the lowest scorers in the league, but just look very, very solid from front and back, able to see out games with not many chances when they do win, and try to kind of hang on when they are ahead, really. This point looks very, very good given how the Badgers look. I know they were down to 10, but going away to Badgers and getting a point means that you're kind of solid front or back. This is how he goes tonight. It is an as-is from the Northern Burn boss, other than a change on the bench. Youngberg coming in for Exeter Berea. What's your thoughts on this Burn 11?
It's very, very good, isn't it? I mean, Ian identified early doors that the 3 sort of positions he wasn't 100% on, maybe 4 positions, sorry, that he wasn't 100% on was left wing back, understandable. The centre back to go with Thuram, understandable. I think Warnes will do a job. The midfielder next to Totti, again, yeah, that's a very Ian player, and that attacking midfielder against up next to Ortega as well, which are the 4 weak links. Realistically, every other player is world class.
Yeah, and Roy Keane has been
the best
brilliant
at their
for him.
position. Yeah.
Keane has been absolutely fantastic for him. And Montella's been quiet, but he did get off the mark last game. And Francesco Totti has been, again, really, really good in that MC position. Over at the Sanctia boys, who do change it up this week, we go to 2 DMs in front of 2 centre halves, and Dye drops back, Smerton in at DMC, and Zauri and George Atos, who can play as wide midfielders, do try and give that a bash. We are scoring, but we're just conceding far too many in traditional Duggan style. So hopefully tonight we can get a clean sheet. Would be a good thing, regardless if we win or not. A clean sheet would be great. Prediction here, Smuts?
It's going to be 1-0. I don't know which way. Honestly, couldn't tell you which way. Whoever scores first is going to win it. I
think I wouldn't disagree with that, to be fair. I think we've looked a bit shaky at the back. So, scoring first would be massive. Looks as though Sancti are having most of the possession, 37 minutes played. Northern Burn do always look lethal going forward, though. And Penza puts one high and wide. There is Montella puts one wide. It is a story of strikers missing chances in that first half with almost identical match stats. Nothing much happens. We'll bring up Northern Burn first of all, a 5 from Gustavo Lopez, but look very, very solid at the back. Mike Duff and Christian Bones doing bits for the managers, and again Roy Keane in there with the tackles. Any thoughts at half time there, Smuts?
Now, ordinarily I would suggest, and he has gone as is, ordinarily I would suggest that he would go as is, but that 5 and with Ljungberg, the super sub for Burn on the bench, maybe will would have seen a sub there, but unsurprisingly, and I think you'd probably be right to do exactly the same as it is.
Yeah, I think both managers don't want to blink early doors there. Montella with a chance could have put them 1-0 up with Khan with a big save. Free kick, George Atos comes in, 54 minutes played. David Collins with a chance. We get to 60 minutes. Montella with another big save from Oliver Khan. And we'll go to the Burn boys first. Gustavo Lopez maintains his 5. Montella on a 6. I suspect we probably know what's coming from the manager.
I still think that Ljungberg for Lopez is the right move, but as is probably.
Yeah, I think we could see an as is. And let's just have a quick look at how Sancti are doing. Average, really. I think if someone steps up with a 9, we'll probably win the game. What will we do here? Who's the worst out of the winners? Keep an eye on that Burn sub for me if you can. We're gonna
I will do.
Now we're gonna go as is. We're in the game. We look solid.
You're struggling for options on the bench realistically as well.
Oh yeah, I've cashed in for the best first 11 I can get. Definitely.
I can see that. But Northern Burn do that as well, and every season I've watched, they've always got a very, very good 11, but no depth realistically. But having players like Ljungberg on the bench who can pretty much do a job, he'll come on and get a 7.
And
Comandini's coming on.
Comandini, I think that's because he's on his way out of the club. So best of luck, Ian Edwards. We go to Comandini on in AMC, and we see what happens to full time. David Collins with a chance. I think it was Smerton. Penalty shout from Sancti. You think Smuts said at the kickoff that 1 goal may be enough? Who's going to get it? And Penza with a chance, but Buffon saves it. Ortega, another late goal for the Burn boys, and another late goal to kick the Sancti boys in the bollocks. It's going to end up 1-0 Northern Burn, and I think that's the 3rd goal that Sancti have conceded in the last 5 minutes of a game. Well played, Edwards. Well played, mate. 5 for Lopez, but Ortega gets the winner. No, he gets the assist, rather, and Montella gets the winner. That's 2-2 for Montella. Any thoughts, Smuts?
If you've got Ortega and Montella in those two positions, you've always got a chance. And like I said, that is another clean sheet for Burn. Very, very good defensively.
So good. Those 8s there at the back.
Absolutely.
That's kind of won them the game, that.
Maybe that lack of somebody on the bench to change a game for you might have cost you again.
Yeah, front 3 have been really good, but actually very, very poor tonight. And then actually the guys at the back that we've changed up have done well. Alexis Smerton have done good. But yeah, well played, Northern Burn. We crack on. Over to Dudley Hill versus the Vikings. This is how Dudley Hill go. 2-7-1. We've got Roy Mackay coming.
That's a surprise.
Roy Mackay coming back in, who's a Dudley Hill favourite. Thoughts on this 11 and thoughts on Steve's business?
Steve's business as ever. I don't know what he manages to put some absolute mental transfers together. And every single time I look at it and go, why have you done that? That is horrific. But he still puts out an 11 that looks fucking brilliant.
Yeah, he never puts out bad 11s, does he?
No.
Never puts out bad 11s. This in particular, I don't know who the fuck this is, but I would say that this kind of midfield spine
legend Balashov
looks really, really good. Yeah, excellent. Mackay with an 8. Campbell there. Bad luck again for Sancti. Careful, mate. You don't want to cry if anyone gives you anything back. We're over at the Vikings, boys, and this is how they go. They've moved from the Burn Trident to the 2-7-1. We've got Del Piero, Henry, and Sigalko, which looks a brilliant front three for me. Van Bronckhorst into the middle, and Wilfred Boomer in on the left-hand side. I think they've probably got the best wing-backs in the league at the minute. Not sold on his,
yeah, certainly.
Not sold on his back three, to be honest, but what's your thoughts on the Vikings?
Yeah, I mean, I sold him Shotis, pretty much just binned him off because I have no interest in him at all. I think it's early for him, but Vitor Bayer was not the Vitor Bayer that you had in the last iteration.
I don't think you ever backed him from the off. Do you know what I mean? I don't think you ever had any intention of backing him from the off, though, to be fair.
One game, 3 goals conceded. Yeah.
Who was that against again? Who was that against? Oh, I mean, it was Cosmos. They'll not be the only side that Cosmos smashed 3-0.
Yeah, exactly.
So we've got to get scoring, Jens, and the points will surely come if Maxime gets underway. Predictions here.
These are two sides that are all over the shop. I mean, it's a different 11 every week for Dudley Hill. There's one player at the Vikings and he's not performing. Throw a dice up in the air and hope it lands on a 6. Fuck knows.
Throw a dice up in the air and I hope it lands on a 6. I think both managers will probably fancy this, to be fair. You know, they both need a kind of good, solid win to really kickstart the season, 5 games in. And there is Joe Cole. Oh, it's disallowed. Is this another game where Dudley Hill create a hell of a lot, but just don't get the result over the line? Henry skims it off something. It said it's skimmed off, but that doesn't matter because he puts it in the back of the net. Thierry Henry, who probably has been... Oh, Montero follows up 2 back-to-back 5s with a goal. And there is Henry, who has probably been the standout player for Vikings in a kind of sea of mediocrity, really. Vikings, again, don't create much. Dudley Hill create more, but find themselves level at half-time. What's your thoughts there, Smuts?
6s and 7s, isn't it? It's very, very average. Only creating 1 shot. Figo's got to come on, but Petit, get rid of one of those DMs.
2-7-1 versus 2-7-1. Do you think he needs to kind of blink at 45?
Yeah, I'd wait till 60, but you've got to be creating something, surely.
Yeah. Interesting to see.
The
Vikings have done the extension of the wing backs and Soroczynski for Scally. So protecting the yellow card and getting probably his most creative players. Certainly his wing backs are more creative than this front three, I'd say, in terms of assists. As is from Dudley Hill, and we crack on. Joe Cole again seems to be everywhere tonight in the commentary. 1 disallowed early doors. Agahawa to West. Is Montero going to get a double tonight? He was up there. Mackay with a chance he should have scored. Again, feels like it's all Dudley Hill. And there is Roy Mackay on his debut, getting a second. Should have scored 5 minutes ago, but does score and puts Dudley Hill from 1-0 behind, 2-1 up on the 60-minute mark. You're probably not blinking if you're still here, are you?
Maybe drop their Maras back on the wing backs at a push.
Yeah, I think Tato's right. Hill absolutely battering them there. I think
definitely.
They were post 45 minutes. Vikings looked poor there. Didn't really look in the game, but still time to change it, Jens, yet. Figo on the bench there, certainly for one of those front 3 men, maybe in another game where Maxim goes quiet, but he does get an 8. Stay right going as you'd expect with Dudley Hill, and we'll see what Jens does in response. Last season did like to go to the kind of 2 up top with the 1 AMC in behind. See if he'll do that again. Yeah, Jens just saying how it was so bad.
Nothing really stopping him. Get a 3 up top.
3 up top, you reckon? Yeah.
3 up top. Get Van Bronckhorst off for Figo. Put him in behind. Fuck it. We got to lose. We're only a goal behind. You rock bottom.
Was that him going without an MC? Off, Like that, Jens? You happy with that, mate? The Diag arrow centrally, I'm guessing. So we're kind of trying to flood Kaladze, who was dominating at half time there in the match stats, in the player stats, sorry. Did seem to be running.
The Devils formation, is that right?
It is, mate, yeah, but I think it was Barry on this side with the Diag this way. Can't remember if Fifey had arrows on all 3 or just the 2 AMCs. Looks all devils that. Fifey confirms it. Did feel pre 60 minutes that Dudley were on top and we were going to get another one. Chance for Cafu, and the extension of the wing-back arrows does get them back to 2-2. Both managers are probably going to be equally annoyed with a draw here, given that they've both been ahead at various different points. Can Maxim? This would be peak Maxim. A penalty. Sigalko, he's missed a pen. Oh my God. Oh my goodness.
Oh dear.
Oh wow.
Oh dear.
And a Baumar injury as well. Oh my God. Probably Van Bronk Ostover. Soroczynski swap with him. Maybe Yepes on and Cordova goes DMC potentially. Let's see what he wants to do here. Or maybe
It's 91st minute. Just put Yepes on and fucking leave it.
Yepes on, Cordova at left wing back. Where's Baumar? Yepes on, Cordova at left wing back.
Is he a DRLC? He could probably play there.
Yeah. Shall we slow it down and see if anything happens? Vikings, Del Piero, Figo, Sigalko. His strength wins the ball from Sigalko.
Sigalko's not fucking scoring.
No, Balashov, Mackay, Chiotis, big save, swims loose, Cafu clears it. Final whistle for the Hill and Vikings boys. Again, Dudley Hill creating more than the Vikings, but just not getting the result over the line. What does the match report say on that missed penalty? Sorry, Jens. Figo was in the penalty area, so Abiati brings him down and he didn't get a red. He didn't get a red. Sigalko had the chance to score. He missed it. Abiati saved it, and then the Baumar injury, which probably stings a little bit more than the miss, to be fair. Dudley Hill looked solid. Steady again. Really one of those players that you'd say is synonymous with a good Dudley Hill side and stay right. Assist for Roy Mackay and a goal on debut. Really looks to be robbed of the man of the match, to be fair. And over to the Vikings, who Sigalko again has 2 chances, does get an assist, so things are happening for him up there. And Cafu chipping in with a goal along with Thierry Henry. That's probably the best 2-2 we've had in a hell of a long time. I know that's going to be no consolation, especially at the ends, given that. But cheers, lads. That was a good watch, that. We go over next to the Exiles.
I think it was a good watch for 12 of the 13 managers. Yeah.
Absolutely. The Exiles versus the Cosmos. This is the kind of the new boys on the block against really one of the mainstays in the top 6 for the last 4 or 5 seasons in East Coast. This is how the Cosmos boys go. I believe it's a debut for Yardell and Aluniano, but other than that, it's the same Cosmos tactic file that has been doing well, bar one result. Wingers in particular, Kulan Simkoviak on the left and right look fantastic. And Dimble has also just agreed a deal to ship out Martin Palermo for Esteban Cambiasso with Northern Burn, and that'll be processed at the conclusion of tonight's games. Thoughts on this Cosmos team?
Well, I'm very annoyed because I wanted both of those players, and Dimble told me that I couldn't have Palermo because there was no one in my squad he wanted. And I've been after Cambiasso since day one because he's a Leicester City legend. I mean, neither of them would have got in the team, but I would have liked both of them, which is annoying. But that team looks... I love Giuliano. He was great for the Gazelles. He did a job for the 5 minutes I was at the Dragons as well. He's just one of those players I like. Quietly gets a 7 every bloody week. You don't have to worry about him. He can play either side of the defence. There's a few players in there that I really like. But there's also a few players in there that I can't get working. So it's a bit of a mixed bag for me. But it's Dimble. I don't know how he does it. He's just better than me.
He's got a really good record with big fuckers up top. Yeah, he is. I think, absolutely. I think 99% of the league would probably say he's better than them, to be honest, mate. Dimble's not really fussed on numbers, and there's nothing. Maybe 3 for Aluniano would probably stand out. And then we go over to your best mate, the Exiles boys, who have been on a hell of a run since that hammering. 1-6, 2-1, 1-0, 1-0. Probably looking the better side in 2 out of 3 of those games. But winning games when you're not the best side is at half time was really impressive from him. Veron in the DM role seems to be doing bits, and the wingers in particular, and Zambrot and Killy Gonzalez, are chipping in with the assists. Interestingly enough, Batistuta keeps his place tonight despite having been poor and also being on an orange injury. What's your thoughts here, mate?
Yeah, it's an odd one. We sort of briefly chatted about it in my flying visit earlier. I'm very surprised Batistuta's still in the side, especially at 72%. That's an odd one. But he's got Viduka coming in if he's not in already. So maybe he's just. In fact, I haven't got a fucking clue what he's done that for. It's an odd one. Riquelme playing ahead of Aymar's an odd one.
Yeah, second game on the bounce. Second game on the bounce. Aymar hasn't played.
Yeah.
In other news, you've been absolutely bummed. You've been absolutely bummed by Martin in the first round of the NFL Fantasy Smuts.
That's not a fucking surprise.
Score prediction here, mate?
Again, this is probably a close 1-0. I couldn't tell you which way.
I think if the Exiles were to come away with 3 points here, then it's not just kind of a bit of a good run. There's definitely something in this 11 and the tactic as being the real deal, because 3 points against any Dimble side is something to behold, really. A very, very short match report. Nothing much really happens. He scores slightly ahead. We'll not dwell on this too much because that was a pretty poor first half given what Dudley Hill and Vikings had served up. Jump over to the Cosmos boys, couple of 6s, couple of 7s. Elias again doing what he does and tackling for fun, but nothing really of any worth. Maybe struggling to get the ball to Claudio Pizarro, but we'll see what happens there. And then over to the Exiles boys, Juan Sebastian Veron from DM. Veron is definitely putting up his best set of numbers in terms of form in the Super League ever, I would say. So credit to Fifey for that. Looks as though that everything DM line forward, though, is just not getting a sniff of the ball. Something about the Cosmos 11 really sticking them down. Dimble goes to 60. And Fifey probably summarising it in much more fewer words than me there. Battered us despite nothing happening. I think that's very honest with you, Fifey, mate.
Before it even finished the sentence, Brugging for back to Stuttgart, not a fucking surprise.
Yeah, I think he's on his way out, isn't he? He's on his way out. So Dimble goes to 60. Brugging comes on for Batistuta, and we almost jump to 60 straight away. In fact, we do. Riquelme and Killy Gonzalez with the click at the earliest opportunity does put the Exiles boys 1-0 up. Over to the Cosmos boys. Again, maybe another game where Exiles have not looked like the better side, but actually are grinding out results at the moment. Would be their third 1-0 on the spin if they were to hang on as Dimble's ratings and also his condition. And then we'll jump over to the Exiles boys, who I can imagine probably won't be doing too much after that goal, put them 1-0 ahead. A couple of 8s, a lot of 7s, and 1 9 from a very important player. There's one player you want that 9 to be on, it's definitely Veron, because it's a sign things are maybe working or at least getting there. Are you doing anything if you're either manager here, Smuts?
Probably not for the Exiles. I mean, you've got to do something from behind if you Dimble. What was I don't know if you clicked on or if I missed it. The stats in terms of shots.
Fifey had one. Fifey had one at half time, and Dimble had 3 and 2.
0 shots on target, and he scored.
Yeah, it's a weird one, that, isn't it? In fact, the goals just went in, so maybe the match stats
wouldn't have
updated. I'll just bring Dimble back up because I see that Fifey is going as is. So Dimble's usually really, really quick with these subs, so I'll just give him a second because I imagine that there might be changes coming. I think we'd probably see Andres de Alessandro here.
Yeah, but I don't know. He's not going to take Stanic if he loves him. Maybe Hussein for one of the two. Yeah. That's. I was going to say, unless he's taking one of the DMs off and moving it.
De Alessandro, yeah, you've called it, mate. De Alessandro on for Michelini and push him up to MC. Centralise the Elias. Aro on Stanic. Hussein for Pizarro. That is how subs are done. 2, 1, 4, 1, 2, bangarang. Well done, Dimble. Thank you very much, mate. So concise that. And we go to full time. Elias, De Alessandro, Iluniano, big save from Richard Wright. And there is Yardell on his debut, who does put his side level. Fifey's just called a masterclass from Dimble incoming. Can the Exiles get another win? It would be 3 wins on the bounce. pot shot from Yardell, who suddenly came to life. Simkoviak, Ferguson, Hussein to Ferguson, Hussein, Richard Wright parries it behind Simkoviak, Yardell lets it run free. Giuliano got to be, and it is Marco Giuliano, that former Gazelles man. Richard Wright looked to be holding back the storm, and Dimble has absolutely snatched 3 points from what looked like a blank at 64 minutes. Ferguson with a tactical yellow there, taking the book and taking the yellow, just stalling that free kick. Taibbi deflects it clear. D'Alessandro, Kuhl, Guigu. Exiles hold on to the ball, but the final whistle is surely coming. Stanic, Hussein, Yardell, Kuhl, Uya, Stanic, past Nesta, dipping shot, saves and pushes away. Yardell's got it. Oh, and Yardell has put the East Coast Cosmos boys 3-1 up at full time, and Dimble has scored 3 goals inside less than 20 minutes. And that is a statement win from Coast, given that they were 1-0 behind with 3/4 of the match played.
So I was just working out how 23 minutes is less than 20 minutes. Just give me a minute.
Yeah, you keep me right, mate. You keep me right on the detail. All right, so we go over to Yardell, who has 2 goals, and Simkoviak on that right wing with an assist. What was your thoughts there, mate?
It didn't seem like that was going to be 3-1 at 64 minutes, did it?
No.
What are the match stats like?
Match stats?
Yeah. Oh, that is an absolute.
Dimble's created 10 shots on goal in 20 minutes, didn't he?
Yeah, he said the word masterclass, and that very, very much was. Champions elect from last season.
I've got to be very careful praising Dimble, because Tato gets really jealous. So I'll not give any more analysis than that. Exiles, no shame in getting beat by Cosmos.
I mean, it's a decent performance, realistically.
Yeah,
unlucky is the only way you look at that. The substitutions changed it. Similar to in your game against Bern, you didn't make a substitution. Bern did, and that changed the game. Same here. I don't know what it is in this iteration of the game, but I think a little change here and there, even if it's nothing too drastic, I think it just makes a little bit of a difference. I don't know why.
Yeah.
And I probably shouldn't have mentioned that, because now everybody's going to do it. But yeah, that just seems to be the way. That's ridiculous, that last half hour.
I mean, what's weird is nobody's really cost them the game, have they? I mean, like, Fifey's saying Wright couldn't catch COVID tonight, but actually he's done well to hold back the flood to just being 3 goals in the last 20 minutes.
He's made 6 saves.
And he definitely looked as though he was pulling off saves for fun. One was a rebound, I think. Wright pushed it away. Yardell got to the rebound, so that's a fair enough. And then Wright let it run free. Yeah, so maybe Fifey is a little bit right there. There's the two goals that got them the victory did result in fumbles, or did come from fumbles, really. Haggis v Badgers, which I think is the game of the night. The Haggis boys are hitting a bit of form, beating 1-0 in the first game of the season against Sloths, which was a 50-50 time cost game, to be fair, and then wins against Los Santos, and coming from behind, and wins against Sancte, looking really in control even with 10 men, and then a noble point against East Coast, I think you'd call that, and a Ruud van Nistelrooy goal. This is how they go tonight. Couple of little changes, not too much going on. A little bit of a change here.
All Galacticos as well, yeah.
Yeah, what's your thoughts on this 11?
It's fucking ridiculous, isn't it? I mean, 2 of the 3 DMs have played very, very well in my little shitty league. I've not seen how well they can perform yet in the Super League, and the keeper the same. But everything, the 2 centre backs are the best 2 centre backs on the game. Full stop. The wingers are all right. Del Vecchio's all right. But Vieira and Van Nistelrooy are 2 of the best on the game.
Yeah, so absolutely.
4 of your 11 are 4 of the best players on the game. You've got to be in with a shout.
Yeah, I think. Look, I don't think I saw anybody not tip Haggis. Well, I'll change that. I think I saw everybody tip Haggis to be a top 6 team pre-season. I think with the deals they've done, I think top 3 team, absolutely. I mean, that you're probably not going to get a better pairing in the league, and you're probably not going to get a better pairing in the league. This, it doesn't matter about the names, because if Rox is putting them in there, you know they're going to do a job, because, you know, weird DMCs that are unreal are his things. And then actually Greavesy has a really good track record of getting random wingers, even though Zanetti's not random, but you know, really random wingers kind of doing jobs. So yeah, it's a great Haggis 11, and credit to the boys for the business they've done and the work that they've done. Christian Vieri debut. They are, however, up against one of the best defensive managers that the league's seen in recent times, really. Certainly kind of manages to hang on to games when he's second best and see out games when he's on top. This is how the Badger boys go. Ashley Lythe comes in tonight for a start, which is his first start under Tato. Definitely wants to play him and grow him. What's your thoughts on this Badgers 11?
Yeah, again, I mean, it's not the best side he's ever had. Not even close. I mean, Clivert, brilliant. Nikiforenko, we know, can be hit and miss, but you've got to play him just in case. Giggs, brilliant. This is probably the best Rayad I've ever seen. We'll see how Scholes performs in midfield. That DM line again looks weak. There's two centre-backs look weak. Toldo's been fantastic, but he still grinds out results. And
he wouldn't forgive us if I didn't say he's in the shop window, lads. Get him your best offer.
Indeed.
He's looking for a DMC, so you know the price.
I'm sure he mentioned to me that he was going to sell him if I wanted him. I'd had to put a deal in.
I think it's DMC he wants from, ideally a DMC. That means he doesn't have to necessarily start live as much. Yeah. Score predictions here?
I've said it with any big two teams, it's going to be close.
Yeah,
this is probably not going to be 1-0.
I think Haggis might just edge this with it being the home advantage, I think.
Yeah,
but it's definitely going to be a close one, I think. Definitely going to be a close one.
Certainly
looks as
though
though it's more...
a goal in it, I think. This is not going to be a 3-0 absolute shellacking.
Zanetti there, second goal in 3 games. Second goal in 3 games for Zanetti. Obviously scored the winner against Sancte and then scores again tonight to put them 1-0 ahead against the Badger boys. What you probably would say about the Badger side is they haven't really got much attacking options to kind of come on and maybe impact the game. But as I say that, right on time, the former Haggis man, Ryan Giggs, puts them back into the game. And this is what the Badgers do. Sometimes look second best, but just manage to pull points when they seem to be disappearing from them. Campbell is on subs tonight because Peter's in bed. I think he's got an early Monday morning start. So Mr. Campbell, there is your 11. The keeper only the only one below a 7, really. Juan Gomez on a booking, but is tackling for fun with a pretty good success rate. And then over to the Badger boys, who Tate will probably feel there's more to come second half.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, those two up top, Clivert and Nikiforenko, are not doing anything. You've probably got a throw on Pippo somewhere, but it probably means dropping one of the DMs, and you can't really do that against Haggis side, who are riddled with them. So maybe as is till 60, see if it gets within touching distance, maybe. Excuse me.
Yeah. I think you know, to be 1-0 behind, given that they were pretty poor there, you'll take that and try and kind of win it with the subs. So Scholes off for Inzaghi. He's going 2 up top. Centralised Nicky behind them both. Any arrow there, Tato? I'll just give you a chance to decide. Mr. Campbell is going as is, which you'd probably expect. They look really, really good there, to be fair.
That actually looks...
I think that looks better.
Yeah.
It
looks better than he started with, yeah. No arrow required.
Lovely, thank you, Tato. And we will go to 60 to see if the Badger boys can, again, pull a point from defeat. And there is Vieri on his debut. The front, we jumped to 74 minutes there. Have we already done the 60-minute subs? No, we haven't yet. I thought I was getting confused there. We jumped to 74 minutes after that 3rd goal. There's Tato's numbers. Ashley Lythe struggling on 76%. Fitness is a myth. See what he wants to do here. He'll probably feel like the game's away from him now. Look at that from the Haggis boys.
Yeah.
Wow. Impressive.
As is, game's done. Southgate can fuck off.
Yeah, he kind of said he didn't fancy him.
To be honest, and I've said this to Tato, and I said it early on. him and Maka got the shittest hand in the draft pots. I don't know how Maka's done it because he doesn't seem to have done any transfers at all. But has somehow got a really fucking good team now. Tato on the other hand has probably got worse somehow.
Yeah, but Tato's definitely got ammunition up his sleeve in terms of if he wants to cash in on. He hasn't. I think he's probably done the fewest transfers in the league. Really, a really solid and impressive 3 points for the Haggis boys. Looked in total control of that game from the off. Milan Petkov, who'd have thought, looks. Why is he getting 2 assists? That's fair enough. Pulling strings from that DMC position, and the pairing of Samuel and Cannavaro have tackled for fun, as is usual. Van Nistelrooy and Vieri goals will just make the league sit up as a front two. Over to the Badger boys. Congratulations, Haggis. We go over to the Badger boys, and it's it's worst performance of the season, worst score of the season. You can't really complain if you just play shit and don't get
shit
results.
Against me as well, in fairness. But hung on for a 0-0 draw.
Yeah.
He wouldn't have been expecting away from home to Haggis to be getting anything. He will just be disappointed that apart from he who shall not be named on the left midfield, everyone of his big players has not turned up. So
yeah, we have 2 games left to go. I think it's only right we leave yours to last, mate, because it makes sense, doesn't it? We go over to the Sloths boys, who are playing Red Rose Stanley tonight. The Sloths boys, who are both managers are in the chat tonight, and Rob seems to have came out the back end of his Stoughton drink later on, so he should be all right to go. Familiar 11 now for Sloths. We've said a lot on comms that looks the best 11 that Rob has had at his disposal. Interestingly, keeps the faith with Zidane despite having done absolutely nothing for about 13 seasons now in the Super League. But he does have Ronaldinho feeding Trezeguet, who Trezeguet seems to have started like absolute house on fire, and he has with 3 goals in 4 games. Any thoughts on the Slothless 11?
Yeah, looks great. Alan Smith is dog shit, and I pretty much gave him away for pennies. That 6 is, if that 6 goes any higher as an average all season, I'll be very surprised. Nicky Butt coming in and kicking people for fun. He is that 3 there. I don't rate Salihamidzic as much as everybody else, but he's passable as a right wing back. Back 5 there, decent. Yeah, it is the best 11 that they've put together, but that's because he keeps putting stupid 11s together normally.
Over to the Red Rose
team. Yeah, the surprise.
I would say.
So far.
Yeah, absolutely. And scoring or not scoring, you kind of flip a coin which one's going to turn up, really. But this is how they go tonight. With a really unfancy tactic.
At home and not away from home. If you look at that.
Yeah, absolutely. I was just about to get to that. And Jeff Whitley does keep his place as a DMC alongside Jens Jeremies. And Edgar David has been scarily good from central midfield for them, getting an assist last game. Rui Costa comes in for a debut tonight in AMC. You'd probably think that that's maybe the one area that they have been weaker. Sebastian Deisler was in there prior to Costa coming in.
Early for him.
Schmeichel retains his place.
Yeah, Casper's dad has done all right, hasn't he? Yeah.
Predictions here, Smuds.
How do you ever predict a Sloths team game?
Yeah.
I mean,
these are 2 high scorers
away from home, so if the pattern repeats, it's going to be a 0 to them and 7 somehow to the Slot. Who fucking knows?
I reckon Stanley are like the new Sloths. They just rock up, score goals, and look a little bit mad in the process.
Yeah,
and I mean that as an absolute compliment to both Old Sloths and Stanley boys, to be fair. Hell of a lot's happened inside 20 minutes. 2 goals disallowed. Madavikia had 1 disallowed, and also Alan Smith had 1 disallowed. Jens Jeremies looks to be pulling the strings.
For them.
I think so, yeah.
I remember Ralph mentioning it, yeah.
Yeah. Zidane in there, Smith, Trezeguet, corner, Kerr turns it away. This is end to end, and I'll be absolutely amazed if this finishes 0-0-0. 0-0-0, 3 teams playing 0-0 at half time. Salihamidzic to Zidane to Ronaldinho. Trezeguet was offside. We are going to get the 0-0 at half time. Another corner. Stanley withhold the pressure. Someone had a half volley and it didn't go in the back of the net. And how the hell have we ended up at blanks at half time there? Any thoughts on the text, Smuts?
What I would suggest is Sloths have a look back over the last 5 games now. how many offsides they've had. If it is as many as I assume it is, change something in your tactic to stop that from happening, because that's probably the reason you're getting so many goals disallowed. It's a fucking mental game. Exactly as I said at the start of the game. How do you fucking legislate this game? It's madness. Schmeichel's on an 8 again. He's 95 years old. He's a bacon salesman. What? I don't understand it.
Yeah. Legends. Good to see you tonight, mate. I think it's the first Super League stream you've made in a while. Good to see you, mate. Hope you're well.
He's in the fucking small horse. He's never in our streams.
Yeah. Obviously, I think he says that in jest, but just for the avoidance of doubt, you can only man mark the keeper on the match screen. Are you doing anything here if you're Sloss or Stanley?
Again, both Savage and Rob are mental. Fuck knows.
Stanley haven't changed it much though. They've not. I don't think that they've diverted from this at all. In game,
yeah. I mean, looking at that bench, if Alan Shearer is your best option, Shearer was great in real life, but he's shit on this.
Mike's going with an as is. We'll just wait. Is that a Rob as is? Have we got there? Have we? 9:53. Rob, if you can just okay.
He has said as is. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Lovely. Thank you very much. And we roll to the 60-minute mark, and Nelka looks to be getting involved for the first time. Lasisi with a yellow card. I think that's 4 or 5 yellow cards with a very, very quiet night for the book for most people. 54 minutes now. Trezeguet has hit the crossbar. Rui Costa with a chance, and Schmeichel does what he has been doing the last few games, keeping goals out. We get to 60 minutes. We'll go to the home team first. Lasisi, Butt, and Smith on a yellow condition if Rob is interested. They probably think here, it feels as though it's just a case of taking a chance here for Sloths because they have luck to be on top.
Yeah, go 3 up top, you pussy.
He has. Luis Enrique for Smith. 3 up top. We're going Ronnie left, Trez middle, Enrique right. Okay, lovely. Spot on. Cheers, Rob.
2 CMs as well for me, but you know.
Van Bommel for Zidane is the other change there. Zidane, come on, you've got to get rid of these fucking shite. And then we go over to the Stanley boys. The as is was for half time, so we'll just have a look how Mike's boys are looking. Condition there if he's interested. And in terms of the match rating, we've got Roberto Carlos, who has been very, very good, kind of leading the way, and also Schmeichel, who's been absolutely fantastic. But I mean, he got ridiculed on streams and Twitter threads for playing Peter Schmeichel, and
he's got a season in him.
I mean, he's the best performer in keeper in the league at the minute. That's fact. You know, no keeper's got a higher rating, and I don't think anybody's got a better defensive record. Yeah, so you know, he who laughs last, all that sort of stuff. Same yeah. So there's going to be some quite comprehensive changes here because Mike has just asked for a minute. I
don't. There's not enough there on the bench for me to make a difference.
A big change, yeah.
I mean,
maybe go 2 on top and lose one of the MCs or DMs.
Yeah, but like I said, if you're relying on Alan Shearer,
I reckon you get rid of Whitley, you put Shearer on, you extend the arrows, and you try and nick it later on. I think.
Again, Whitley's not doing badly. Out of those 2 DMs, Jeremy's is one of the worst.
Yeah. Who are you playing tonight? Los Santos, Smuts?
Yeah, but Hodgson.
Yeah. Home or away?
One of those 2.
Yeah, not that it would change how you're going to play it anyway, would it?
No, to be honest, I did look at potentially that first, this formation basically, against Stee as a potential away formation. But it just didn't create enough, and it didn't sit right.
There we go, and that's how he's went. Gnevs to right wing back, Madovic to MC along with Rui, Whitley coming off for Peter Sant at DC. And Rob Slough furious at how long that was taking. And even his assistant manager is just saying Savage is firing up the fax machine there. I think that's the most I've had to fill ever with absolute nonsense. So thank you, Savage. Appreciate it, mate. But appreciate it's also nils each. And the next goal is going to be absolutely crucial. Lasisi Jeremy's goes into the boot. Kandaya, someone's got to put a goal away. And it is the man off the bench, Mark van Bommel, showing that his manager is going back into the genius territory rather than just the absolute lunatic that we've had him in for a good few seasons. Kandaya Trezeguet again skipped the ball. He's hit the post of the woodwork 3 times today. Looks to be a second coming for Sloss. Stanley, can they nick one? And Nelka's been quiet. And Nelka gets a header, but it's patted away. And we get to the final whistle. And Sloss, I think, for the 3rd time this season, get a 1-0 win. And again, it's another 3 points for the Sloth boys, Smuts.
He's going to be fucking horrific to deal with if he wins this league.
Yeah, I mean, he'll sabotage it himself. He'll not do that, will he? Sloths are top. Wow, what a shout that is. Sloths are top, and I am all here for it. Over at the Stanley boys, Peter Schmeichel did his best to hold back the flood, but couldn't quite. Edgar Davids again with another 8 from DM, and Roberto Carlos again with another top performance from DML. But there's no shame in that for Stanley. That is the side that have went top, and you've only been done by the 1 goal at full time. So we rock on. Dimble saying, what the fuck is this sensible Sloths proper team stuff? Yeah, I'm all here for it. It's class. Still a long way to go. We go over to Los Santos Kings, who have again been, with probably Vikings, Stackinson and Sancte, the disappointment of the league so far this season. Only 1 win in 3 and looking second best in 3 of those 4 games. This is how he goes. Interestingly, Morientes still stays on the bench, given how mercurial he's been for Hodgie in the past. And it is an as-is 11 since the last game. Thoughts on this Los Santos 11?
Still looks fucking strong, doesn't it? Again, Morientes I'd have played instead of Vasilic. Castroman, right wing back, odd. I'm not the biggest fan of those 2 centre backs, but everywhere else looks really, really strong.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Don't care where they are in the league. I'm worried about getting beat here.
Over to your boys, you're playing that Burn Trident. You started off with the 2-7-1 and you moved over to this. What was the kind of rationale behind that, and where do you think this team's at the minute?
Just, I don't think I'm as strong in defensive midfield as I'd like to be. Dalmat has played really fucking well in the games he's played. Obviously outside of Vieira. And I just want to create as much as possible. Attack.
It's the right win, lose or draw, the right way to play the game, isn't it? You know what I mean? Maybe that's why I fucking struggled for so long. But yeah, here we go with the last game of the night. I'll not ask you to make a prediction, mate, because it's your own team. But here we go. Foss Road are definitely one of the better sides and looking to really kick on into that top 4, top 3. But Los Santos are on top early doors. Lizarazu, you spotted that unhappy sign next to the player. Raul now, Tamati. Raul and Vogel and Lizarazu. Vogel again with another chance. Foss Road struggling to just get a hold of the ball in this first half. And you'd think if they were to get in at half-time nils each, then it would be a little bit of a win. And
certainly looked under the cosh there. Yeah.
For all we talked about in terms of trying to win well or lose well, that's pretty an anti-Smuts performance, that, mate.
Yeah, it certainly looked like they were well on top of us. Martin Larson doing really well.
Yeah.
Vieira's not winning a lot of tackles. That is a bit of a worry. And him having to make as many tackles, not ideal.
Not really reflected in his AMC line though, so it's got to be runs from probably elsewhere, pulling that zonal marking a little bit, I think. Shevchenko and Raul don't look to have benefited from Vieira missing 10. Haven't seen Hodgie in the chat tonight. Are you doing anything here, Smuts?
I might do. Yeah.
Hodgie is in the chat. Good evening, mate.
Yeah,
well.
Franca for... No, I tell you what, 60 minutes, we'll see.
60 minutes, okay. We'll just jump to the Los Santos boys again then and see. I expect a Hodgie as is, to be fair, maybe. Morientes could come on for Vasily up there, and then I think you probably would be a little bit worried given what he's done for Hodgie in the past. Fifey saying that Fossey and Exiles haven't mirrored each other's results yet, so Fifey's backing me for a win. Savage just pointing out that Anelka's only got he had 4 on target in the game, but with 0 goals, which is a little bit of a turn up for the book. Hodgie does go as is, so we'll run to 60 minutes. We get to 49 minutes straight away, and there is Raul, his first goal. The manager has kept the faith with him, and he's rewarded it tonight. Trust the process, is the Hodgie saying. Nick Matulin, Shevchenko gets in there. We go from 58 to 67 minutes, and I think I smell changes in the air for the Foss Road boys. Smuts?
Yeah, I bottled that Franco for Saviola change. I should have made it. It's a shame. Santa Cruz for Saviola. Go to the top. That's the one. Santa Cruz on the left, please.
Is that it, mate?
Big arrows on Z, Roberto. Yeah, and Emerton.
Just one more?
Yeah. Who's playing? Yeah, Biscan for Dalmat. Drop him back into DM, please.
Centralised Van der Vaart. Arrow?
Yeah, of course.
No arrow?
No, thank you very much. That'll do me.
And we'll go over to Hodgie, whose 7s have turned into 8, so maybe you've put the kiss of death there on that Patrick Vieira performance. Maybe that'll have declined by the full-time whistle. Rox is saying stop playing Saviola in AMC with a little bit of a...
I would do, but I can't play Owen and Saviola up top together.
I would play it one over Saviola over Owen. But that probably shows how little
I was considering, but I haven't got another AMC, really.
Roll from Hodgie, looking in control of this game since half-time, and actually for the full 90, to be honest. But Foss Road have been on the wrong end of a result where they've bettered the opponents and they've hung on, so maybe they can come up with something here. Santa Cruz, who is very much Smuts' kind of prize boy, doesn't quite do it for him there. Vasiliuk, who maintains his manager's faith ahead of Morientes. And there is Vasiliuk right on time. Niggy Matulin, I think that was saying he should have saved it. And Smuts, unfortunately, mate, it's never nice when there's a co-commentator.
Completely outplayed there. I said I was worried before the game started, and I was right to be. Bad day at the races, to be honest. Fair play, Hodgie. Well played.
Absolutely, mate. And I think fair fucks to Hodgie. Trust the process. You know, you could have... think, you know, likes of me and Steve and probably Jens, where heads would have fell off a little bit with their start, but he's actually kept the faith, and his big players have came through there tonight. A very, very solid Las Santas win, which is what we all know he's capable of. Patrick Vieira got worse, actually. Had 6 more tackles and missed 3, so 50%. Unlucky Smuts, mate. We'll not dwell on that too much. Well played, Hodgie. And that brings us to the classifieds. So the Exiles were beaten after 64 minutes, really. They were on top until 64. And then a Dimble substitution masterclass got them 3-1. Fulchester beat Stackington 4-1. Goals from Emre Constantinu, Robin and Ronaldo. Fulchester definitely look the real deal at this minute in time. Talking about the real deal, it is that partnership of Ruud van Nistelrooy and Christian Vieri that saw the Haggis boys score 3 and get 3 points against the really solid Badgers side, but just couldn't get going tonight. Los Santos touch-lit their season tonight with 2 goals from 2 players that the manager's backed when others have called for them to go. Northern Burn grinding out a 1-0 win, as they do in a very much a 50-50 game, with a late goal for Montella and Sancte conceding their third losing goal inside the last 5 minutes. There's definitely problems there. Sloths against Stanley, again, another side who looked ridiculously solid compared to their manager's track record, and the Sloths are definitely going to be a top 6 side this season. Vikings Dudley Hill at the battle at the bottom, but they actually served up the best game of the night, and unfortunately for Jens, Maxim Skalko couldn't get the winner when handed it from the penalty spot, and Wilfred Baumer injury will be concerning to Jens. Leaves the table looking like this. There is now a little bit of distance starting to appear, and a little bit of trend line starting to appear, with Sloths, Cosmos and Haggis looking to be the 3 strongest sides in the league, really. Burn, Exiles, Badgers, Fulchester and Stanley, you'd say there isn't much between them, but with a couple of them having a bit of a wobble tonight, namely Exiles, Badgers and Stanley, you'll see where they go over the next 3 or 4 games with still deals left to go.
Only one team unbeaten now.
Only one team unbeaten, and that is the Sloths. Who would have thought of 5 games in? And And at the bottom, we've got Stackington on 14 points, Vikings on 3 points in 13th, Sancti in 12th with 3 points, and then you've got Dudley Hill, Fossey Road, and Los Santos at the bottom. These three sides at the bottom, Sancti, Stackington, and Vikings, are probably rightly down there given the results and performances. Certainly the goals conceded for Sancti, Dudley, and Stackington there. Fixtures for next week, or Thursday rather, which will be with
Me
Dimble,
against
Badgers,
you.
Vikings. Dudley, is it we got each other, have we? Oh, away from
Yeah.
home as well. Dudley against Fulchester, Coast against Sloths, Fossey Road against Sancti, Northern against Haggis, Stackington against Exiles, Stanley against Los Santos. Packs won't be out tonight, boys, because there's a little bit of transfer admin to do, but they will be out tomorrow night. If I do get held up and they don't get out tomorrow night, then I will let you know in advance, and I'll also post some stats and stuff because I am off to watch the NFL and get ready for my little girl's first day of school. Smuts, mate, thank you so much for joining us. You're always an absolute pleasure to have on Core Comms. Your insight's great, and I think you're definitely a fan of the pace of the show tonight, so thank you very much. Any last words from you, mate? You can close the show out for us.
I tell you what, I do have some last words. I just read these 3 words that have absolutely scared the hell out of me on Twitter earlier, and they were transanal evisceration. So that is my last 3 words of the night, mate.
And I don't think there's anything much more to add than that, other than a bit of censorship. We'll say a good night and God bless. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you Thursday with Dimble.
Cheers.